What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show here in the afternoon. And we have got a great one lined up for you because, yes, Bitcoin is down today. In fact, it actually dropped below 60,000. We've seemed to have found some footing above 60,000 for the time being, but there still are a lot of people wondering how much lower could/should we go in this pullback. However, we do want to point out on today's show, there is something flashing. There's a signal flashing we have not seen since the bottom of the bear market. Yes, it is something that more often than not flashes a bullish reason to buy. What is that? You're going to have to stick around for the entire show to figure it out. We also have some great news. It's kind of going under the radar, but one of our favorite coins here, Chainlink, just made a very interesting relationship that should bode for some bullish price action as well. You got to be here for the entire thing, though. Smash the like button if you enjoy the show. Hit subscribe if this is your first time joining. And before we get into the bolts and the crannies, we got to roll that intro. Well, the duo is back together. Thank you, everyone who stuck with the channel yesterday. I was not here. I didn't know I was getting sick. I'm thinking, T-Shroom, I'm thinking it was allergies because after taking, it was just something that dawned on me like last night. I was like, what the crap is going on in my throat? Let me take some allergy medication so I can sleep because, it has like, my throat was like closing up. It's like one of those things that like has like anti-swelling. What's that called? Antihistamines? What? I don't know what's the right word there.
I think so. That sounds right.
And it made everything a lot better. I woke up this morning feeling pretty stinking good. So that's something that is very good. Maybe I just need to get some more traditional. I mean, it's summertime. Dust is in the air. The grass is crazy. Maybe I'm getting a little bit of allergies. But I'm glad to be back with all of you fine people. T-Shroom, you did a great job stepping up yesterday, running the show by yourself. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling more unburdened than I deserve. I botched that.
Good.
I was trying to do the camel harris thing. Yeah, more unburdened than I deserve, Tim. How are you today?
I said I think I'm doing better. I think I'm doing a lot better than I was, and that's a good sign. Like, you never like getting sick, so thinking I wasn't sick as much as maybe just had some bad allergies. Put a 1 in chat if you too struggle with allergy season. It's not like the worst of allergy season. Spring usually is the worst. But that does not mean there's not stuff that it goes into the summer as well. Let's see. A lot of people saying welcome back. Thanks for having me here, guys. I'm glad to be with you. Let's get into some details here. Let's take a look at the markets, T-Shroom, and see what's going on.
This is the second time that you haven't shared your screen.
Well, it's it's something that I was thinking about doing along the line somewhere in the show. But now you should have it, and I think we can share it again. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and look at the charts here. Red bubbles in bulk today. Are there any green bubbles? I'm actually looking very intently in the top 100. Do we have any green bubbles? There's one right over here behind my face. Let's look at it real quick. It is.
Is that layer 0? Oh,
ZK Sync. Yeah. So I think I'm looking just to make sure I'm not saying this wrong. I think it's the only coin in the top 100 that never mind. Tron is barely in the green here as well. So I stand corrected. 2 coins do find themselves in the green. The rest of the space heavily in the red. Biggest losers: Phantom, Bonk, Whiff, ENS. Pepe's over here hiding. Don't let Pepe get away with anything. Brett is down pretty far, 8.1% hiding behind T-Shroom. You got Ondo down 6%, Jasmine down 9%, Render down 7%, Fett down 8%. Big losses. Lido as well. I did see an article, a very harsh article about Lido. I think it was mostly FUD. But a lot of people selling off the altcoin space today. You know what that means, though, T-Shroom? If you live in a world of positivity the way that you and I do, what does that mean when you see a bunch of red bubbles, T-Shroom?
Blood in the streets. That's when you buy. You buy low.
That's when you freaking buy.
You sell high.
We're going to look at some things here later on to show you some potential good buying reasons. But let's take a look at the top 10. Just as a whole, nothing in the top 10 was as bad. Well, actually, Solana down 7% in the last 24 hours. Why? Because it had such a big rally. It was up over 150 again the other day. We talked about a rally. Remember, we predicted a rally getting Solana back up. And sure enough, it hit this resistance, came back down. But Bitcoin down 3.4, Ethereum down 3.7, BNB 3.8. As we said, Solana down 7%. XRP a little modest 3.3, Toncoin a little 2.8, Doge 4.8, Cardano 2.4, and as we mentioned, Tron coin, it actually is in the green over the last 24 hours. Then you got AVAX down here, down 6. Let's just take a look at a couple more here, taking some losses in the top 15 to 20. Chainlink down 4, Polkadot down 7. So again, a lot of blood in the streets here for the crypto market so far. Let's get into some Bitcoin TA. I was taking a look at some Ondo earlier, so pay no attention to the Ondo thinking that that's the majority of what we're talking about today. We can, if you guys want to, again, during Q&A. The show's completely up to you, but Ondo's not the main topic for the day. What we have here for Bitcoin, though, look at that, smash the like. What's that guy's name? Oh, crap, the guy that smashes watermelons. Oh, don't say it, T-Shirt. Don't say his name. It's going to come to me. They're going to say it in chat. Is it Gallagher or something like that? Anyway, back to the charts. Smash the charts like Gallagher smashes watermelons, and you should be smashing the like button. You can see here, we once again have got ourselves right back down, barely below 60,000, but seem to be trying to defend it as a whole. I'm here on the 4-hour chart. If I were to pull up some of these indicators, you'll see there's a very strong order block. When I say very strong, let me re-say that. I'm not going to say very strong. I'm going to say strong. Why is it strong? Well, because this red bar is thicker than this green bar. That communicates more bears will get exhausted and want out of their trades than bulls. That being said, it's actually pretty stinking close to each other. So that's why I'm kind of I'm taking back the word strong and just saying, or very strong, and just saying it's a bullish order block that should give us some level of support. However, now that we're below this smart trail, I tell you, when you get a sell order, if that sell below the smart trail, I'm not saying it's 100%, but it's very common to come down and hit the take profit level. That take profit level is sitting right here at 58,800. So even though we're kind of been holding up here around 60,000 decently, I'm not necessarily convinced that this dip is over, but it still remains in a spot that I've been in for a while now. I think whether or not we drop to lower prices or not, let's say we were to come down to 55,000, 50,000, you have a we want to talk about very strong order block at 50,000. We still are holding up one right here. I know it says it's pink right there. We got to get up to the end of the day. Still have a very strong order block right here at 60,000. But if for some reason we do lose and go down to 50,000, look at how large that red bar is right there versus the green one. I mean, this would be the area. What this communicates is bears would take profit on their shorts in bulk. Bulls will be ready to buy this up in a heartbeat. I don't know, and I don't think we're going to be seeing 50,000, but I just wanted to prepare you guys. If 50,000 comes to play, very strong support sitting down at that level. Let me see some other things I want to take a look at. The other reason I'm kind of still sitting here bullish, yes, we see some resistance on some oscillators here in the daily chart, but as a whole here, especially the Lux Algo oscillator, we just flashed a buy signal the other day. Are we in some volatility? Yes, we're in some volatility. Yes, we're going to go up and down. That is what you guys need to know is right now, you're going to be suppressed one way or another because we have a lot of big stuff coming out. You have a lot of institutions actually buying right now, but you also have a lot of FUD from Mt. Gox and others that should start, I believe, on the 5th, which is Friday. I see this. I want to start off by, Mt. Gox isn't a large portion of the story, but I see this dip into the Mt. Gox release as actually a very positive thing. More often than not, when you're looking forward to big events, you work the price into that event. So the fact that price has been falling since we've known that Mt. Gox was going to start in July, to me that actually is, and I said this 2 days ago, I see this as more of a sell the rumor, buy the release. When does it start? July 5th. Therefore, we've been selling up into the actual event. We also probably should end up seeing the price bounce back up once it has started. Another reason why I think that we might be bearish today, and we're going to get into the bullish stuff here in a second, but another reason we might be bearish is there's kind of some uncertainty right now as far as who's going to be running for the Democratic ticket of president. I'm going to say president today. We're going to say a couple words. I'm just not going to say any names. Sleepy Man, it sounds like, is reconsidering if he's going to stay in the race. Now, we're getting some conflicting reports here. We're hearing some people from his camp say that he's absolutely staying in the race, but we're hearing other people from the Democratic camp say, no, he's been meeting with a lot of very important leaders. They're going to convince him to step down. Why is that bearish for Bitcoin? Well, because when you're looking at what the future looks like, you kind of understood what you had with an orange man versus sleepy man election. You kind of knew what was going to happen, but there's now a wrinkle in the mix. We have no idea if Sleepy Man is replaced, who's going to be replacing him for certain, what that person, what that man or woman's stance on crypto is going to look like. And this is going to put just a little bit of fear into the market because of the unknown. Is it long-term bearish? Is it long-term a problem? Not necessarily. I don't think it is, but it's just something that I told you guys weeks ago. If the institutions who want to manipulate price to buy as low as possible can use anything to their advantage to get that price to go further down, they're going to do it. It's just one more reason, one more excuse for Bitcoin price to drop. And that's what we're seeing. What I'll say here, I still believe that we're sitting on some strong support. But I'm going to cover a story here in a second that kind of backs that up. But if I even oh no, don't do the thing. Okay, there we go. Did not go crazy with us. I talked about this a little bit this morning.
Nice.
Yes, we have some liquidity down closer to 55,000. That is in the cards. But we are taking out right now actually a lot of long liquidations. There's a fat stack that's going to bring us possibly down to about 59,000, possibly a little bit below, back to levels we were just at a couple of days ago on the 24th of June. This is something, do not be surprised to see a long trap start off, meaning suppression in price to bring us down to 59,000, freaking out everybody, convincing people, just like I see in chat, people saying 55,000, 50,000. I've seen in comments here the last couple of days, oh, we have to go down to 46,000. We have to go down to this number. That's exactly what they want you to think so that you do not buy the dip, so that you potentially even think to yourself, man, if I could sell right here at 60,000 and buy back in at like 40, that's actually a good deal. So they not only don't want you to buy right now, they also want you to sell and wait for much lower prices that I'm not convinced necessarily are going to come. I'm still kind of watching for that 58 to 59K area to be an interesting buy spot. And I'm seeing that on the charts. I'm seeing that on the liquidity charts, but also we're seeing another chart. I'm going to throw this one to T Shroom now. We're seeing another chart flash bullish. This is what the title is from, in case you guys came in here wondering why is Tim talking about a bullish signal. There is something that's happening right now that we have not seen occur like this or look like this since the bottom of the bear market. T Shroom, can you show us that chart and can we explain what's going on with it?
Absolutely, Tim. Well, this is the chart here that you're referring to, and as you can see, this is a chart of daily miner revenues, and fees, and block subsidies. So this is essentially after the halving. These metrics, they come down quite a bit. Miner daily revenue is at 29 million, down 63% since March 6th. Moreover, fees have declined, and you can't see this behind Tim's head, but fees have declined to 3.2% of total revenues, the lowest since April 8th. Drilling down even deeper into the details here from the article from CoinDesk, two signs of minor capitulation are dwindling hash rates and mining revenue by hash price, both of which are down significantly this month, with hash rate plunging by 7.7% since the halving, as hash price nearing all-time lows. Hash rate is the mining power in the Bitcoin network, and hash price refers to the revenue miners earn from a unit of hash rate. Miners are also experiencing a hit to their daily revenue, which fell to 29 million today from 79 million in March. This has led to miners turning off equipment and the subsequent drop in hash rate. Miners have been hit by a 63% decline in daily revenues due to the halving and the collapse of transaction fees to 3.2% of total revenue, all according to Crypto Quant. And here's the big one. The miner capitulation levels are now comparable with those from December 2022, which was the market bottom following the demise of FTX. So right now, the market is really at a reset place where we should start to see a major bottom put in and resumption to the upside. At least that's my reading of this article and what is being illustrated by this chart here. Tim, is that kind of along the lines of what you're thinking with this?
Yeah, I think there was another one that kind of showed the severity of the peak. Was there another chart on this article, or was that the only one?
Let's see. Yeah, there's this one as well.
Yes,
Bitcoin.
This is what I was looking at. Yeah.
Network true hash rate
zoom
down.
Zoom out a little bit. Our faces are covering, I think, some pretty important information.
Stand by. I'll have this a little bit more readily available in one moment.
Oh,
there we go.
There we go. Yeah, so you see that very extreme red level. That is the heavy capitulation of miners. Yes, capitulation of miners can suppress price, but once you hit that peak, that is where it's like, hey, there's just no more left for them to capitulate. It's time for this to go up. In fact, you'll see if you kind of look at it, even what you can see on this time frame, the other spike we had, roughly, what was that date? I think that date, it looks like somewhere right there on January. You can see we had a capitulation that marked the bottom there as well. And even though you can't see it on this zoomed in chart, if you zoomed out and looked at this long time, we can see this amount of capitulation coming to a peak, mark very significant bottoms in Bitcoin's price. So what is the overall point here? Let's go to my chart again here, T-Shroom. We're looking at this level. This is the timeline we got this last flash. Of course, we would go on Bitcoin to rally, before any significant pullback, we would rally 55%, then have a 20% pullback. Then we would keep going on up and up and up, more like 100%. We had some 20% pullbacks in and of those movements, but the point stands that right now, of all the things that are being thrown around, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is good. One of the things that I have given credit to as to why Bitcoin price should keep going down is the minor capitulation. I knew it would end at a certain point. I didn't know when, how, or where, but I knew that that was something. As long as the miners were dumping Bitcoin, whales were going to see it the same way. They weren't going to be convinced to buy in bulk. But here's what we are seeing. As we're down to these levels, we are actually watching a lot of inflow. And I'm not going to look at anything on the chart here, so we can go back to just us here, T-Shirt. We are just watching whales. We're watching whales pick up some more Bitcoin. We've seen multiple purchases in the last week of hundreds of millions, not 1 million, not 5 million, not 10 million, not even only 100 million. We have seen a purchase of 800 million and a purchase of 400 million. Whales with that much money do not buy at stupid prices right before a 30, 40, 50% crash. They know something that we don't know. Another thing that I covered this morning, and you can go back and watch my morning video. It's about 15 minutes long. I think it's worth a watch even after this live show is over. But we talked about another article that people are going to utilize to say, uh-oh, we're in trouble. And it was, we yesterday, for the first time in a couple of weeks, saw a net outflow of ETFs. Now, what it didn't cover and didn't go into detail on is how much inflow we have had over the last couple of weeks. Ever since we've fallen from 72,000 and gotten closer to 60K, the ETFs inflows have gotten a lot more aggressive. But in the article I read this morning, and I'm not going to bring it back up because I'm just going to run you through it. Go watch my video if you want to see the exact details. But the main reason it was down about 13.6 million net, ETFs inflow to outflow was negative 13 million. Was because $32 million of outflows came yesterday from Grayscale. All right. So that one ETF lost $32 million worth of Bitcoin holdings. But we saw net inflow on BlackRock, on Fidelity, on ARK Invest. We saw the ones that are actually probably going to carry this bull market even further, not go astronomically up to the upside, but they did gain more inflows at yesterday's cheaper prices. So anyone with this lie, let's just call it a lie, this lie out there that the institutions are done with Bitcoin, this is the end of the bull market top, they're not buying, they are full of crap. The evidence still shows that they're buying. It actually shows in the last week. Let's look at all of this week's data, not just yesterday. In the last week, being hovering around $60,000 has caused whales to be buying in bulk. And now that we're seeing the capitulation of the miners come to an end, we're also seeing a story come in with Mt. Gox that was supposed to be so bearish, but I told you earlier in this video, I think is a little bit of a bear trap. I see a lot of signs towards upward mobility. So some people are going to, after this video, I'm going to predict it right now. People who did not watch the whole video through. Maybe they heard one soundbite. Maybe they just are looking at today's title and then like 2 days ago's title and last week's title. And they're going to say, well, what is it, Tim? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? What is it? It could go up, could go down. Here's what I just want to make painfully clear. Anyone watching this video who's wondering, what is Tim predicting Bitcoin's about to do? If you ask me in the short term, meaning the next day or two, which way Bitcoin's going, I'm going to lean a little bit more towards the downside. Probably mostly sideways, but I'm slightly bearish to the downside. I don't know if where we have currently bottomed out today is the bottom of this pullback. But if you're still asking me over the next couple of weeks, the next couple of months, and definitely over the next year, which way is Bitcoin going, I am definitely still pulling towards a bullish bias that we're going to go much above 100,000, probably push towards or above 200,000. However, You got to learn in the crypto world to ride the volatility. I told you 2 days ago, I cannot tell you exactly what price will do over the next week, but I can tell you it's going to be volatile. Well, guess what? We've seen a pump. We've seen a dump. What's next? More volatility. That's the only thing I can guarantee you. That's the only thing you can walk away from this video saying Tim predicted perfectly. Before we move into the next subject, it's 3:20. Let's read some chat here. We got first of all, we did get a super chat from Big Fish Little Boat. I like it. There's a video that went viral. I don't trust the ocean, T-Shroom. I saw this video of a guy kayaking in the ocean and a tiger shark at, like, I don't know how fast tiger sharks can swim, but this shark came in probably like 30 miles per hour. Didn't flip his boat, but took a chunk out of his kayak. And I'm like, yep, that's no, you're not going to find Tim in the ocean anytime soon. Those sharks are coming out of the woodwork, and there's too much shark activity right now. But I like the name Big Fish Little Boat. That was a crazy segue. I'm ready to buy. Tell me when. Here's the thing, guys. Are you trading or are you buying long-term? If you're buying long-term, you're buying a price. Today is better than yesterday. It's better than a month ago. It's better than the bull market top. Can I guarantee you this is the best you're going to get from here on out? No, I can't. I don't think we're dropping down to 55 or 50, but I'm prepared for a situation in which case we will. I'm not going to freak out and FUD out and capitulate like a lot of the retail space will do because they're freaking out. But again, I'm telling you from my years of experience in crypto, the minute your emotional state tells you that Bitcoin's price is going to go down, it should be the time you're most confident it's going to go up. It's when everything feels right. It's when all the stars seem to align for a bullish rally that you might benefit from being a little bit of a skeptic. Along this bull market, and ask any of the OGs in here, right now, I think that I am being perceived as a Perma Bull, as this crazy optimistic guy, a guy that's just always saying we're in a rally. If you have been listening to the Investing Bros since October when this rally started, I have talked heavily. I talked back here, go back to the charts. I probably was calling for a pullback somewhere here in December, didn't end up getting one until January, but I told people, look out for a much larger pullback. Sure enough, it happened. I actually, as we were getting close to all-time highs, I was saying, I didn't think we were going to set new all-time highs. I thought we were going to end somewhere just south of the last one, but around 65,000, I said, hey guys, look for a big pullback. I was the perma bear. Everyone said I was a FUD monster. Everyone hated me. Why was I like that back then, and why am I bullish right now? Because I have learned to be an antagonist. I have learned to go against the mainstream opinion. If the mainstream opinion is bullish, I often find myself being more bearish. If the mainstream opinion is bearish, I often find myself being more bullish. And that's one of the reasons why I actually do very well when I'm investing, trading against those narratives. In this case, on the short term, there's still a lot of negativity. And guess what? I'm not even saying that negativity is done, but I'm telling you, anyone who thinks that the bull market's over, it's crazy. No, it is not. Anyone who thinks we have to go down to 55,000, so you're preparing to sell and wait for that level, I've made that mistake before. I've seen where all the evidence positioned and said, oh, we need to correct more. I've sold my HODL portfolio, and I learned a hard lesson. You don't do that. You, more often than not, when everything looks that way, you're usually wrong.
Yeah.
Please, I'm not here to give you financial advice, but please, anyone who's sitting here scared at Bitcoin's price and an article they see come out who thinks Bitcoin's falling to 50,000, do not make the mistake of selling your portfolio because you can buy back a better level. Hold some cash on the side, make some trading opportunities where you can buy down that low, but selling is going to be a major mistake when you look back on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest regret I've had in investing full stop was selling Bitcoin. Right, I didn't sell all of it, but I sold probably a third of my Bitcoin at one point in time, thinking it was going to go lower, thinking I would be able to buy back lower. Right, that kind of makes sense in the moment, but the reality is if you have a high conviction asset like Bitcoin, like Microsoft, like Tesla, and you're holding it, that's where you want to be. You want to be holding it, right? Mm-hmm. Unless you know there's another asset that is going to outperform. Right, that's the only time that you would ever part ways with your high conviction asset. So don't, learn from Tim and I's mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. Don't sell because you think something's going to go lower if you have a high conviction in it. If you think something's going to go lower and you don't have high conviction in it, that's a different story. But Bitcoin, for me and for you watching more than likely, Bitcoin is a high conviction asset for you. Now, Tim, you mentioned this Tiger Shark clip, and I've got it right here.
You found
This,
it?
and I
Yeah,
did
I think this is it.
look at that.
Dude,
That's wild.
no. You're not going to catch Tim in this same situation. I'm sorry. Pete, you can say I'm afraid of it. I call it a healthy respect for sharks. That's their home. That's not my home. God put me on land. He put them in the water. I'm going to stay on land is what I'm going to do. I might put my foot in the ocean, but you're not going to catch Tim being a beach bum, surfing or kayaking in the ocean anytime soon. I mean, again, there's videos. I think I showed this on the channel a week ago. Have you seen the videos like flocks? I don't even, there's not a term for like a bunch of sharks because sharks are independent animals. They swim by themselves. And there's videos of hundreds of them all together coming to the beaches of the US. No, thank you. This is a time I'm very glad I live in the mountains, not on the beach.
Fact check failed, Tim. Fact check
No.
failed.
Mission failed. We'll get 'em next time.
A shiver of sharks.
Yeah, see, it's a shiver. That word doesn't even make sense because it happens so infrequently. All right.
I think you're right. I don't think sharks are pack creatures.
They're
so.
not. They're not. They're shiver. That again, they gave it a stupid name because it never happens. But yes, this year we're seeing a shiver of sharks in the ocean, especially the Gulf.
Yeah,
All
we
right,
did
let's
get a good
move on.
good
Let's move on to the
chat
next
here
story.
from Gilbert. Said, can the job report that will come out Friday make the markets bullish? I've got the info pulled up here, Tim. The non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate, both very important, will be coming out on Friday. And the consensus is, let me make sure I'm getting these lined up right. The forecast for the non-farm payrolls are 160, and then the unemployment rate 4%. The consensus and forecast is in line with the previous. So economists are expecting no change in the unemployment rate for June. The non-farm payroll looks like it will come in under, according to economic forecasters. So will it play a role? I think it will. Definitely. Tim, what do you think?
I think I'm getting a lot of fact checks in the chat about shark. I will admit I'm not a shark expert. I don't watch Shark Week. It's a cool concept. I just don't watch it. So I will retrace everything I said. I just still don't like how many sharks I'm seeing in those videos. As far as this question, here's what I'll say. Is that number about job claims important? Yes, it's important. Yes, we'll cover it. Yes, we'll talk about what it means. I will say listening to Jerome Powell in the last couple of months, and I think many of you will agree with me, I have not heard him talk as much about employment rates factoring in their decision. It really sounds like the economy, numbers, and everything else is kind of where they want it to be, where it's not amazing, but it's not terrible. I honestly think the only details they're watching is to see, do they have a control of inflation? He said it time and time again. We're doing well about tackling inflation, getting it closer to that goal of 2%, but we don't want to make any moves too early and risk falling back into high inflation. Right? The reason the jobless claims are important is because if those jobless claims got way too high and we have a mass amount of unemployment, then even if inflation's out of control, they'll want to inject some strength back into the economy so that they help the working class, right? In this case, I don't think that that's the concern or the fear, unless like the expectation 235,000, unless we're saying like 500,000. That's all. If we come in with 500,000 on the initial jobless claims, yes, maybe that has a big impact on Jerome Powell. But if it's even barely above that number, higher than expected, I bet you it doesn't factor into decision making that much. What really factors in is inflation data, and I do think we have some inflation numbers coming out in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, core inflation and inflation numbers will be coming out Thursday, July 11th. So a week from tomorrow, that is something that could have major impact on what we end up seeing from Jerome Powell and the Fed, meaning could we see rate cuts? Do I have it up here? No, just give me a second here, T-Shirt. I'm going to pull up my the numbers here we can look at for the Fed rate prediction. All right, go back to my screen here. Still overwhelmingly saying July, we're going to stay paused. No surprise there. But we're still where we kind of were the other day. 66% plus 6%, so let's call it 72%, saying that we're going to get one rate cut at least in September. By December, we're still seeing the overwhelming prediction be that we're going to see two rate cuts, right? Jerome Powell has said the expectation is only one. If we see him give us any sign that we're leaning towards two, if CME futures starts to get it more correct, then that would be a major buying reason. I think Bitcoin's going to rally even if we don't get two rate cuts, But right now, just so you guys know, the way the markets are kind of fluctuating and moving, they have priced in we only are going to get one rate cut this September because that's what Jerome Powell says. If he gives us any reason to think it's 2, that's bullish. Any reason to think it's 3, that's even more bullish. And then you're adding it to the bullishness of the ETF buying and the election discussions and situations that would lead towards a more bullish Bitcoin future. So right now, as important as the job data is, I'm going to put it in tier B of importance behind inflation and power of the dollar decision-making data points.
The fact of the matter is that Caleb Franzen, who couldn't make it today, unfortunately, Caleb Franzen Wednesday, he likes to say that the job market has been dynamic and resilient, right? It's playing along. The job market has done everything it needs to do to give Jerome Powell a clear green light again and again, month after month, to do what needs to be done to get inflation under control. Again, all according to Keynesian economics. I'm not saying I condone what the Federal Reserve does, but as far as Keynesian economics goes, the jobs numbers have been playing along. Whether they're being cooked or not is, again, another conversation. But according to, if you take just the establishment line, Jerome Powell has been able to get inflation down, soft landing, because jobs have played a role. Does that mean that the markets aren't going to trade on jobs on Friday? No, the equities probably will buy, probably bid higher or lower, reprice with those prints, but it's not anywhere near as important as inflation.
Now, T-Shim, I want to start a brand new segment on the show, impromptu, but I want to do more of this moving forward. So you guys be aware, this is going to become a new segment on the Investing Bros live show. And that segment is going to be called
Shark Week.
Yeah, no, it's
just
not.
Kidding.
It's going to be called Bold or / Brave Predictions. And that I will take when you guys say things in the comments, in the chat, you'll be eligible. We'll bring you up. Shout out to today's impromptu starting of this Pug. Pug says cuts in August. That's a brave and bold prediction. One of the biggest reasons why is there's no meeting in August. So the probability of that happening, Pug, very slim.
It's not zero, though.
It might be zero. It might be zero.
No, there's nothing in the Federal Reserve's charter that says they can't do cuts, cuts or hikes whenever they want. Okay, they just never have.
Let's put it a non-zero probability. So you're saying there's a chance. I do think September, Pug. I think that if you just move that back 1 month to when we have a Fed meeting, probably September. But let me know in chat what you guys think about the new segment idea. I'm excited about it. I think there's going to be a lot of great stuff for that segment. Yep. With that said, though, it's already 3:30, and I'll tell you this, guys. We're about to transfer into our second segment. Tisha and I literally had a conversation before the show saying, there's not necessarily a lot of news. This might be a shorter show. And then I said, you know what? We always say it's going to be a short show, and we always find a way to make it run past an hour. We have 2 more discussion topics before we even get into the Q&A, and they're already halfway through the show. So I think we're going to be fine about running a full hour today. T-Shroom, while everybody else is smashing the like button and hitting subscribe because they're having very fun time with today's show, tell us a little more about a deal that Chainlink is working on in the background that really not a lot of people are talking about.
Absolutely, Tim. Well, Fidelity, Signum partner with Chainlink to bring NAV data on-chain. Tim, this is what everybody's talking about here. This is the details around the Chainlink partnership. Fund tokenization is likely the largest digital asset trend happening today, and it's a large confirmation that global asset management firms are entering this growth market, Chainlink's co-founder Sergey Nazarov said in a statement. To go specifically, the partnership is around Chainlink teaming up with Fidelity International and Signum to bring net asset value data on-chain. That's NAV. For those of you at home who may remember this term NAV, the last time we heard it was when the Grayscale Trust, a lot of folks were keeping close tabs on the NAV between the Grayscale Trust and the actual value of the Bitcoin held by the Grayscale Trust. Okay, that's a little extra bonus for these inside baseball, inside blockchain, if you will, folks at home. So according to the announcement on July 3rd, the initiative will see the NAV of Fidelity's $6.9 billion with a B institutional liquid funds become accessible on-chain in real time. That's impressive. NAV is a financial metric used to determine the value of a fund's asset minus its liabilities divided by the number of outstanding shares. So overall here, it does seem to be a tokenization move, and it's going to mostly benefit Signum's clients from an actual deliverable standpoint. Signum recently tokenized 50 million with an M from Matter Labs treasuries. The initiative was part of Matter Labs' strategy to move its treasury reserves on-chain while still investing in short-term, high-quality debt securities, such as those provided by mutual funds. Tim, this does not sound like an industry that is losing momentum. This sounds like an industry that is trying to hide its cards. There's a lot going on behind the scenes at the venture capitalist, the investment bank level. They don't necessarily want retail getting in and buying these assets that they're behind on, right? So it kind of makes sense that prices are coming back, as you like to say, Tim, bringing the boat back by the institutions in order to stack up sats. Right at the end of the day. Now, Tim, what is your thoughts here? I'd love to see what, in light of this story you're seeing on the chart for Chainlink, and smash the likes for Chainlink, especially you, username.
Yeah, username. We're behind in our schedule, our regularly scheduled, telling him this is for no one else. If your name is not username, close your ears for a second. Username, go buy some more Chainlink. That part of the show is not out of the way. We can move forward. Nice. Before we go and check on my charts, because I'm going to show you guys what's happening in Chainlink, some interesting stuff here. I'm going to make my own little bold prediction about Chainlink, and I don't know when, and I don't know how much of one it's going to be, but I am predicting that one day we're going to have, we're all going to be sleeping very soundly in our beds. T-Shroom will have, had a nice night out. We probably just spent some time with our wives, just feeling really good, had a nice night of rest. And we're going to wake up and there's going to be a massive God candle on Chainlink. What is a God candle? Anyone who's new? It's a candle that is just absolutely stupidly big. And in this case, we're talking about a bullish one. I don't know what date. I don't know how big. Will that take us up to $24? Will that take us up to like $70? I don't know what it's going to be. But Chainlink has been doing all of the things in the background relationship-wise that is stacking up to be a God candle coming. T-Shroom, as you were giving it off to me, you were setting me up. I agree. I cannot agree with anything you say more perfectly than what you said. It's this concept of the institutions do not want you buying the asset that they want to buy at a cheap price, right? If the community was super bullish on Chainlink right now, the way I am, if everyone in the world was as bullish on Chainlink as me and username, the price would be way higher. But it's not that way. But I hope you guys don't think that I've been accused of this too. People say I'm a Chainlink maxi. Call me what you will. Do you want to know why I'm bullish? Because I believe, as much as a trader as I am, and a chartist that I am, I love the charts. But I'm also a big believer that price is downstream from fundamentals. What do I mean by that? Charts can get exciting. Things can pop up. Coins can have large communities that buy and buy and buy and buy and hype and hype and hype and hype, and price can go crazy high. You want a point of reference? Look at Cardano chart back in 2021. I believe in Cardano long term, but it was not ready for a rally over $3, but community got it there. That isn't necessarily the sign of fundamentals being upstream from the price action. When you look at the relationships that Chainlink is building, the one that T-Shroom just talked about, the fact that almost every major bank has chosen Chainlink where we thought they were going to choose something like XRP, the fact that, what's the organization? I almost said Swift. I almost said a different thing. Swift, probably is still at this point, as much as we don't like them, the most important entity when it comes to keeping up values of money. Swift has selected Chainlink as their blockchain to use to come into the Web3 world. Has that resulted in massive bullish price? No, it is not. What does that tell me? That the institutions love this coin. The fundamental aspect of what it's going to bring to the world is amazingly bullish. And the fact that the price is still sitting below $50 means that you have the opportunity of a lifetime to buy in early, despite the fact that price might not be going explosively. Fundamentals are upstream from price. This coin might have the best fundamentals in the bull market for any one altcoin, with the exception of Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is Bitcoin. If we're looking at altcoins, I don't think there's even anything close that will have the same amount of, and I'm not talking about price action because there's lower coins that have great returns. If we're talking about market cap gaining, I don't know if many projects out there will gain more in market cap than Chainlink. Let's go take a look at the charts here. Go ahead. What you going to say there, T-Shroom?
Well, I was just going to say, and that's the definition of underbought. If you're new to trading, you're new to investing, that's what the markets exist for. They're to correct the values of the underlying asset. If the market is uneducated, there's a gap in education. That gap also exists in the price per asset. And that gap is going to be filled, and the truth will come out. Let's look at the charts.
Let's look at the charts. Now, up until this last 4-hour candle, I was going to say Chainlink was holding up pretty nicely compared to the rest of the space. Eliminate this candle, right? So if I were to go back and do this and just eliminate this most recent 4-hour candle, this really isn't a negative pullback in the last day or so like we've seen with potentially like Bitcoin. You can see Bitcoin has been bleeding now for days, not even just a couple of hours. It's been bleeding for days. Same thing with Ethereum. I'm not going to say this with everyone, but even Ondo. I mean, Ondo has been bleeding here. Chainlink, on the other hand, and it just refreshed everything for me. Thank you there. Just started falling within the last 4 hours. So it's doing a little bit of catch up. I think some of that has to do with this news that T-Shroom is bringing up. But I'm going to show you guys in the short term, I still think there's a strong level of support. I actually put this in our chat for our VIP traders. If you're a VIP trader, go check it out. I saw someone earlier in chat say that you're not sure how to do it. Anyone who purchased Lux Algo to be a part of VIP trading, go and join our free Discord. Get in there, start asking questions. T-Shroom, Crux, and I are on top of it. If you ask a question in almost any chat, we'll get you directed where you need to go. But I posted for our VIP traders. I said, do not be surprised if Chainlink does come back down here to the blue smart trail and this order block. This isn't necessarily the strongest bullish order block in the world, but the fact that it's combined with support from just a couple of days ago, and actually it's been major support now for a while, and the fact that this is where the 4-hour smart trail is, I feel decent about Chainlink potentially pulling back to that level. And again, this is when price was up here closer to $14.30. I said don't be surprised to fall back down to the downside. But when you start taking a look at larger time frames, this is what I want you guys to see. We have been bullish here in terms of we got overextending the oscillator starting to move. We had our green reversal, and this isn't going to be a perfect buy signal. So I don't want people to think, oh, is this Tim's magic buy signal? No, it's not. But it is something that I'm wanting to be aware of. We are about to cross bullish in money flow for the first time since being bullish way back early in June. In fact, this is going to be the best buying opportunity for Chainlink, I would argue, since way back in January of this year on the daily chart. Do we pull back a little bit before that? Absolutely, we could. We go and take a look at High Block and update this. Please don't do the thing, High Block, to me where you go freaking out on me. Please, every High Block. There we go. All right, it's working very nicely. We could even see on the 7-day chart a price fall back to $13. Let's see where would that actually take us. Does that take us back into this window for our chart? Let me just see here. A little bit lower. It would say that potentially you could get a little bit lower here into the green cloud. But my point still stands here. We have a pocket that we could be chasing here at 1340, which is what we just referred to on the 4-hour chart for the smart trail. There's a chance, not a great chance, but a chance $13 gets hit because of long liquidations. But take a look on the 7-day where the majority of liquidations are sitting here. They're actually up here at $15. If we come out to a longer time frame, let's go out here to a month. You're going to see there's almost no heavy liquidity on the monthly chart. Everything is sitting to the upside. And if I just keep backing out and going a little further, eventually we'd find some heavy liquidity below us, like there down here on the 3-month chart. You can see a pretty heavy level down here at 12, but we've already gotten close to that right there. I actually see more of a reason to make moves back up towards $20 on Chainlink's long-term liquidations. And this chart's only going to tell us so much. I'm not going to go out some crazy long stream patterns here. But what I'm seeing even in the short term, I see more of a case for maybe a small pullback, but a bigger move to the upside. And then once again, something the charts cannot communicate with you, the fundamentals of this project long term. Let me turn off Lux Algo here for a second. The fundamentals of this project are going to be setting it up and to the right. The next major level, I think I've said this before, I think that Chainlink by the end of 2024 is getting up here between $38 to $50. And I'm not changing my mind on that just yet. Now, I want to address one piece of charting FUD that you probably have seen someone say, and I just want to address it. This is, not going to lie, this is a head and shoulders pattern that looks to be in play. What am I talking about right here? We had a decent little left shoulder ahead, and the right shoulder got a little higher than the other one, but that's technically still a right shoulder. That is what is in play here. I do not believe it's going to play out, and I'll show you why. First of all, there's a lot of fundamental reasons to be bullish right now. We're sitting on a lot of support, but even if we were to say this was going to be in play and we're to go to its full breakout, we would be talking about Chainlink having a dive back down to $6.40. From where we currently are, and I just don't see this happening, we would be seeing another 53% pullback. From the top of the bull market, we would see over a 72% pullback. I do not in any world see this happening. In fact, I really don't see a world we drop below this $12 region. I think there's a chance we retouch it. I'm not guaranteeing it. It's kind of in the same boat as like Bitcoin to 55 or 50. Could it happen? Yes, it could happen. And I have a plan put in place for it. But anyone who's sitting here wondering about the head and shoulders pattern on Chainlink, I'm telling you right now, based off of a lot of other things, you should never be trading based off of one piece of information. You should never trade based off of one indicator, one piece of news, one update. You should always try to look at everything, put together a full picture of what that looks like, and then trade based off of that. And right now, the only thing calling for a major correction in Chainlink's price is a head and shoulders pattern. And the last thing I'll say on this, and we're going to transition into our third and final story for the day, is that altcoins historically are pretty poopy when it comes to pattern breakouts. I'm not saying it never happens. I'm not saying don't be aware of head and shoulders or inverse head and shoulders or cup and handles. Be aware of them. That's just good to how we always have in the back of your mind. But unlike the stock market, where we'll see these patterns play out closer to 80% of the time the way they're supposed to play out, especially the lower you go into cryptocurrencies, altcoins, the less often I see it. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and put this formation at roughly a 50-50 chance, meaning it's just as good of a probability that we make a move to the upside as a move to the downside. So for that reason, I'm not looking at this head and shoulders pattern and fudding out. I'm taking a look at a lot of other things and trying to make an informed decision based off of a plethora of decision-making tools, not just one.
You got to love it. Good use of the word plethora there, Tim. Some people would say plethora. Some people would say plethora. In any case, you were
I've never
right.
heard plethora.
Earlier, when you said it was Gallagher that does the watermelon smashing, look at this. This is just a beautiful gif of a watermelon being smashed. Now, Tim, yesterday you weren't feeling good. I went live, and everybody loved it. We talked about this portfolio from Grayscale. This is their top 20 that they came out with for Q3 of 2024 this year. Now, I want to get your take on this. Now, Tim, you haven't really spent much time looking at this, if at all.
Nope,
so we're going to kind of see Tim's.
I'm going to assume Bitcoin and Ethereum are on it, seeing as that they filed for ETFs.
Well, and you would be safe in that assumption. Before we get to Tim's reaction to this, we got to get over to the factoid of the day, which is brought to you all by Arculus Cold Wallets. Go ahead and get your Arculus Cold Wallets. The link is down in the description. It is the...
I think you might have muted yourself, T-Shroom, because I don't hear you anymore.
Well, everybody already knows that Arculus is the best way to store your crypto and keep it safe. But Tim, the real question is, do you know what the first Bitcoin hard fork was? What was the first Bitcoin hard fork? Was it A, Bitcoin XT, B, Bitcoin Cash, C, Bitcoin Classic, or D, Litecoin? Tim, what is your answer?
I want to say it's D, Litecoin. I know that Litecoin at least was created to solve for the issue of liquidity, long-term liquidity, and speed. There's a part of me that thinks it was Litecoin.
What part of you?
This part right here.
You're okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The left shoulder.
If this is my tradition. I'm gonna say if for some reason I'm wrong, I'm gonna go with Bitcoin Classic. And I think Bitcoin Classic people sometimes try to say that they're the original or whatever. But I'm thinking it might be Litecoin.
Okay. So you're going in Litecoin?
And as I'm reading chat, I'm for some reason feeling like that's going to be wrong. But that's what I'm going with. I feel like it might be somewhat of a trick question.
All right. He's locked in Litecoin. He's going with it. But is it right? It is not. It's Bitcoin
Well, okay,
XT.
that wasn't even on my
Tim.
radar.
And
All right, cool.
And when the factoid elf told me about this, you can see the elf right here, down here.
Yeah.
I did not know this either. What was the first Bitcoin fork? The first notable Bitcoin fork was Bitcoin XT, launched 2014 by Mike Hearn. While the previous Bitcoin version allowed up to 7 transactions per second, Bitcoin XT aimed for 24 transactions per second. In order to accomplish this, it proposed increasing block size from 1 megabyte to 8 megabytes. Wow, there's a lot I don't know about blockchain. There probably is. There's no end to what you can study and learn about blockchain. We highly encourage you to invest and trade, but very more importantly is to gain knowledge, gain experience about what it is that we're trading.
Real quick, T-Shroom, before we get into our next step, we did miss a super chat. We never miss super chats. Like, that's just a part of the rules of
it's a
being
big
on
part.
the show. Seth Shepard, which, by the way, shout out to Seth Shepard. I see his name pretty much daily. Big supporter, so love having Seth in here. He said, will you do some quick TA for Cardano? If it breaks 37 or 38 cents, was wondering where you think the ultimate bottom will be. That's a great first one to do during Q&A section. This third one it's going to be short, pretty much T-Shroom. I'm not even going to give a take on it. I just want T-Shroom to update you on this news, and then we'll start off Q&A, Seth, with that TA for Cardano. Thank you for that super chat.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's take a look here at this portfolio. This is Grayscale's research top 20, Tim. And coming in at
I forgot we were doing this. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
And at number 1 is Bitcoin.
Yeah, okay.
Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Toncoin, Chainlink coming in, number 5. They're not numbered, which is inconvenient. Uniswap, Near, Render, Stacks, Mantle, Maker. Thank you for watching the T-Shroom Reads Off Crypto show. Lido, Airweave, Thorchain, Aave, Pendle, Akash, Potato, Illuvium, Radium, and Aerodrome. There's a couple on there I was very surprised to see, but Tim, I want to get your first initial thoughts on this list.
Mantle and Maker are both real-world assets, correct?
Mantle is a smart contract platform in the ETH ecosystem, is what it's labeled as. And then, what was the other one you said?
Maker and Mantle.
Maker and Mantle. Maker is more financials, ETH ecosystem. Tokenization would be Chainlink. Again, Ethereum.
Maker is okay. Mantle is not. Maker is.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are all just. Stacks is on there as well. These are all just themes in crypto sectors according to Grayscale. But
I'll start with the ones that I'm like I just personally don't own, and I don't think I'm going to. I don't think I'm going to own Mantle. And even when it comes to Maker, I can't fault them for having Maker on there. Do what you want. It is real world asset, but I'm not going to have that one. Lido, Arweave, Thorchain, Aave, I'm okay with. Pendle, you kind of twisting my arm into that one. I'm convinced that one. I'm not going to own any of the rest of those. Akash, Illuvium, Radium, Aerodrome. So all I can say is my personal thoughts. I think that you could replace 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. 8 of the 20, I think, are easily replaceable. Am I saying that you're not going to make any money with those 8? No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I think that there's some other choices that could be a lot better. I'll even go as far as to say, if you're looking up there at Uniswap, I understand Uniswap is the leader there, so maybe there's a little bit of a conversation to say maybe you should just keep the biggest one, but I just think there's some swaps out there that are a lot better and going to make you more money. I'll actually go ahead and let you guys know. I don't know if we have the link for it yet, but for example, and I'll be very clear, we're being paid by them, but we just actually recently signed a partnership. We're going to have an interview next week with the people that created Houdini Swap. I don't know if you guys have looked into Houdini Swap. Don't use it just yet. Make sure you click on our link because they're going to pay us, and then you guys get a link.
The link is in the description of this video.
Oh, okay. We got the link. All right, so go click on the link, everybody. But I'm actually really, really big on Houdini Swap. Meeting with their team, hearing more about what they're doing. I think that Houdini Swap is going to solve for a lot of problems. It is small cap. I don't think it's going to crack the top 100, but I think it's one that's going to have a lot of volume coming into it. The things that it's going to accomplish are massive. So we're also going to use it, just so you guys know. We're going to be using when we build future portfolios and we're exchanging portfolios. We're going to be doing that all with Houdini Swap. So if you are looking for a good swap, check out Houdini Swap. Again, I think technically our deal started with them today. I'm just kidding. Even if it didn't, I'm going to give you guys free publicity. And also, the other reason why you support it is if you guys love the bros, and I think a lot of you guys do. I think a lot of you are subscribers. You come in every single day. Houdini Swap reached out to us, and literally the reason they wanted to do a deal with us is they said, we love your guys' energy. We love your community. We have big plans for this space, and we think that partnering with your channel is going to be massive. And we believe in your channel. We want to support you guys as you're growing. So when they reach out, I want you guys to know, like, the reason we're going to be able to keep on going on, the reason we're getting closer every single day to where both T-Stream and I could make this our full-time lives, like we're just in Discord, we're making more and more content, we're doing all this research, is because there's companies like Houdini Swap that believe in us and want to be a part of our team. So if you guys are looking for a swap, I entirely urge you, not only because it's a great swap, but also to give even more support to the bros. Use Houdini Swap. Again, look forward to interview is going to come out next week. We're going to create a tutorial on how to use it. There's no signups whatsoever. You literally can go on there right now, just their website, and start swapping your coins. It finds the cheapest price possible. That's another really cool thing about it. There's other swaps out there, but they're going to do their own fees. Houdini Swap literally searches the entire internet to find out what is the cheapest price to swap tokens, and that's the price they're going to give you. So big shout out to them. Big love to Houdini Swap. They're not yet in our top brand thing, so that's why the deal hasn't started yet today. But look for them right next to that Arcless sign right there. You're going to see Houdini Swap up there in next week. But anyway, let's go and move on here. Yeah, there's Houdini Swap right there. Yep. Simple tool, very easy, straightforward, but again, very, very useful if you're constantly wanting to make moves in your portfolio. This is the one you're going to want to use. T-Stream, let's go ahead and go into our Q&A here. I think there was a story. Just don't even get into the article. Just tell everyone, BitTensor, can you just give us a 10-second update on BitTensor?
Yeah, BitTensor, not good. BitTensor slid 15% after $8 million wallet drain attacked. That's not good. Investigations are ongoing into the attack, which is suspected caused a private key leakage. So, BitTensor, a big AI name, seen as a pretty big, competitor to ASI and everything they're doing there, as well as, AI stocks. So they even paused the chain, which I didn't even know was something that was even really all that possible, or at least they put it on. Yeah. They put the chain on safe mode, which blocks producing, but no transactions are permitted. So that is definitely something that if you've been all in on Tao, TAO is the ticker, BitTensor is the name, then you probably are a little bit stressed out today, a little bit sweaty. Mm-hmm. I do have some BitTensor. It's not enough to really stress me out though, right? Because I'm properly managing my risk. I understand that I'm in a high risk industry of crypto. It's the Wild West. That is the correct approach. That's the BitTensor story.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you guys want to hear more about that, make sure you're in our free Discord. We talk about this kind of stuff all the time. Again, on the YouTube channel, we talk about the big stuff. But if you're one of the people that enjoy conversations about the backdoor stuff and like the smaller stuff that's not going to make top headlines, make sure you're a part of our Discord. Join membership options. I think this week, T-Shroom, just yesterday, yesterday, you had your first deep takes with T-Shroom, where you just went in depth with our private members on a lot of big topics. That's the kind of stuff you get when you're a member of the channel. Let's go ahead and go into two TA things here. I see the questions. I'll let you guys know. I'm going to do Cardano TA from our super chat, and I'm going to do Render TA. I saw another question asking about what's next for Render. T-Shroom, let's go ahead and go to my screen here. I told you guys the other day, Cardano just broke bullishly out of a very bullish formation called a falling wedge pattern. Pretty aggressive one here too. It has a long-term breakout prediction of 70 cents, meaning we could hit that maybe in August sometime. Not predicting some crazy rally on Cardano in the next day or two or anything, but a bullish trend has started out here. So that's the first thing I want you guys to be aware of. It's very common once you break this level of resistance to come back and retest it. So even just before I put on any other indicators, Cardano could probably still make a pullback down towards 39, 38 cents, hit this blue line, and then move to the upside. But I think the question specifically asked, is 38.39 the bottom? If it went lower, how much lower could it go? Let's take a look at that Big level of resistance right now. We talked about this before. We told you guys entering this trade way back on June 30th, you could run it up possibly higher up here towards 43 cents. We did make it to about 42. Rejecting here today, but could we go even lower here? Let's look at our oscillators here. The oscillators on the daily chart, yes, it looks like there's a small correction in play, but long-term bullish. Had a great buy signal here the other day. That daily chart still playing out just that way. If I went to smaller time frames, let's take a look at what we have going on here. You're not going to see a strong order block on the 4-hour until all the way back down to 36 cents. If I went to lower time frames on the 1 hour, for example, we're sitting on a strong order block at the moment, meaning more bears are getting exhausted on the hourly chart right now than the bulls. I don't like either of these order blocks in play right here, right? So I kind of still hold. If we lose 38 cents, I think it's a good level, you guys, to keep your eye on. But if we start to lose 38 cents, I think you're talking about a 36 cent coming back down to the bottom we had back on June 24th. From a longer time perspective, let's turn off Luxago here for a second. There's an argument to be made. We talked about 36 happening before. Turns out that was pretty good call. We came back down to those levels. I don't really know if Cardano has a lot of juice to go much lower here, though. If we were to go lower, I mean, yeah, right here on 33 cents, there's a little bit of a gap. Here on 30 cents, there's a little bit of a gap. But you're going to see right here, I mean, this level was the last level of like, hey, I think this is a decent spot to come back to and hit this 39 cent, 36 cent level, an area we wrestled with during the bullish trend here in November. And now you can see we've seen a lot of wrestling with once again. And at that, it's been low wrestle bottoms, right? So this is actually a sign. I tell you guys all the time, high volume will come in to show us some reversals or confirmation movements. What do you do when you see a low volume bottom? It's actually kind of a positive sign that there is just no more selling pressure whatsoever. There wasn't this great exchange of selling into buying. It was just the selling as a whole came to an end. So can't guarantee it for certain, 100%, but that's a pretty bullish formation. There's just not a lot of levels below us. Every major target of liquidity is sitting to the upside of current Cardano price when you make it way up to the daily chart. This makes me say, hey, yeah, could we pull back down to 38, 39 cents at the moment? We could, and retest this resistance level turning to support, but I still have my eyes kind of more fixed to the upside. Again, the oscillators are telling me, again, small pullback potentially based off these smaller time frames, but even this, like stochastic's overextended, looks like it wants to buy. Looks like we're finding support on the 4-hour chart on the 50 level. That's extremely bullish. And then you come over here and you take a look here. We had a sell order that came into play, but now that we're back down below and we're sitting very close to some strong levels of support, there's possibly good reason to suspect this move doesn't really need to go any lower. So still bullish on Cardano, even if we move a little bit further to downside. Again, much more room to the upside than there is to the downside. I'm almost saying worst case scenario here, we revisit 36, but I'm not very convinced that's going to happen. Let's keep going on here. Let's take a look at Render. I'm going to call it a day. We do have our YouTube members stream right after the show. I'm looking at a comment here. Per high block capital, Bitcoin liquidity at 55 and 50K. Most retail buy and hold, hope EM traders using charts indicators get wrecked. Institutions use this order flow and liquidity. You're right, but there's just always been a bunch of liquidity on that chart. That's something that's not necessarily like with how much liquidity is on it. You got to kind of look for the best targets. The best places of liquidity, mean the brightest yellow. And right now, that's sitting to the upside, not the downside. Let's check out what Render is doing here. Let's start off on the daily chart. We'll work our way back down on a very strong order block. This order block actually could take us all the way down to 687. We're currently trading at $7.04. This is the take profit of the sell order we had back early in June. So those are very strong things that we're looking at. If we lose this level around 691, very strong support. And I say very strong. Look at the size of that red bar next to the green bar. Extremely strong level of support down at $6. Let's see what we would say if we were to go over here. Render on liquidity. Is there any heavy liquidity beneath? Look at that. Heavy liquidity sitting where? Right there around $6. You technically have some that pops up down here, but this is the majority of it. You're also going to see a long-term trend line of support. Let me turn off Lux Algo here for a second. Something we've been tracking for a while. A long-term support line that would probably run us into that same level if we were to come down here and kind of match the wick we had way back here early on in March. So could that be in play? Yes, it could. Order block on the daily chart suggests that's something that's interesting. Let's see what the oscillators are saying to us. Little overextended there. I don't love where the RSI is, still hovering below the 50 right there. The MACD is bullish technically. It's making a little bit of a reversal there, but still extremely low. And then you come over here. Did we get a buy signal? We did get a buy signal. And we have more room to the upside, but that's one that absolutely could correct here a little bit lower. So it's one of those things. Here's what I'll say. We're sitting on some support right now. I bet you if Bitcoin holds 58K, Render probably doesn't really drop much low these wicks right here on 670. If Bitcoin makes a move to 55, I think that Render is going to go to $6. I think there's a lot of room for it to do that, and then you're going to find some major support around those levels, maybe just a little bit beneath it, closer to like $5.90. Either way, this is still a coin that I'm very, very bullish on. And yes, we've pulled back here more recently. Yes, we're sitting here in a spot where it's not choice. Oh, look at that. I mean, that's just strong support here around 650. But when you zoom out here, sorry, got a little distracted by my own, by the chart. This is still a massive movements of longer time frames, higher highs and higher lows, extremely bullish. Even at this time right now, we are still, if you actually go back here, we're still up a 24x from the bottom of the bear market, despite the fact that this has had a pretty decent sized pullback since the high, the bull market high of 50%. I'm still very high on Render. Not convinced we have to hit $6, but if we do start to see some southern price action coming in on other altcoins, look for $6, give or take, as the next spot on Render. That could be pretty interesting. All right, that is going to wrap up the show for today. I know there's a lot of you guys who have a lot more questions, a lot more thoughts. Tomorrow, for example, some of you might be wondering, on the 4th of July, the day that us here in America celebrate our freedom from England. That's right. If you're from England, we love you, but respectfully suck it. We're going to be celebrating tomorrow, both T-Shroom and myself. But guess what? Even though we will not have an afternoon live show, we will be going live at 9 a.m. Or I say we. I think T-Shroom, you're seeing this one out. I'm going to be going live at 9 a.m. tomorrow. We might go the full hour. We'll probably go the full hour, but we'll definitely keep you up to date on everything you need to know. But guess what starts tomorrow? We've been kind of updating you guys and telling you about it, but this does start tomorrow. Please, 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 I urge you guys. We have a lot of fun on this channel, but when it's time to be serious, we do get serious. Tomorrow starts our week-long trading challenge to raise as much money as possible for Life of the Innocent. This is a company, a ministry, that as we celebrate our freedom here in the United States, they work to save children from trafficking, both sex and organ trafficking in India. You guys see the prices right there. This is what your donations can give. If you want to just give a bunch of money, that is awesome. Every single dollar you have helps. I just want to challenge everyone in this community to use your trading profits. Not even saying to dig deep in your pocketbooks. It would be awesome if you did. But this week when you trade, if you profit $10, $100, $3,000, I want to urge you to and challenge you to give every single one of those dollars to this ministry. T-Shroom, if they do have money to give, where is the best place for them to send that?
Yeah, Tim. So if you go down into the description of this video you're watching, there's Tim. You scroll down. It's also on mobile as well. You've got 2 crypto wallets here, USDT over ERC20 and USDC over Polygon. And then that's for crypto. And then you can also do traditional donations through credit card, PayPal, Venmo through this link. It should send you to a website that looks like this, and you click donate, and boom, you should be home free. You can connect. You just fill out some information, and then you can connect your PayPal, Venmo, credit card, bank account, GPay, Google Pay, I guess. So there's really, if you have any way of paying for anything, you probably are going to be able to do this, and it really is a good cause. I kind of talked about how Tim and I have we've known about and worked with Life for the Innocent for a lot of years. I've known about them since I was in middle school. They came by the youth group that I was at church and explained it there, and at pretty much every single year since then, there's been representatives that have come into my life from Life of the Innocent and explained it, and I've donated multiple times throughout the years. And it's an excellent cause. Like there's a lot of good causes out there. This is one of those that is excellent. And you guys can do definitely way more research if you'd like on their website to really do the due diligence that you should do before you make a donation.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to, as we go out here, and I know like we're going to make a big deal about it this whole week from July 4th to July 11th. If you guys don't like that, that's okay. I'm going to keep doing it. And the reason for that is if you guys have been around us for a while, or if you're newer, I want to make sure you guys understand who T. Shum and I are. We are here because we want to see people enrich their lives to create generational wealth and change their life, their family's life, and then ultimately get to a place where you can change the life of the people around you. Yes, we're going to cover all the big news and all the details you need to know to get wealthier in crypto. Yes, we're going to have fun and joke around while we do it. But at the same time, we are here for a purpose. T. Shum and I are both very purpose-driven people. We are both believers, and we believe that we've been given a gift from Jesus and a blessing to bless other people as well. And this is one of the ways that we give back. And I want to urge you guys to join us as well. Again, no pressure from anyone, but it's just a challenge. If you're in a place where you have been blessed heavily, this is a great opportunity for you to let that blessing overflow, to trickle out, and to help those who are in pain and need worldwide. We're looking forward to partnering with other ministries going forward as well, but this is one that's very near and dear to both mine and T. Shum's hearts. T. Shum, anything you want to say before we go?
And just the last note, Tim, I don't even know if you know about this, but something to mention throughout the rest of this drive is that if you want the 501c3 tax exemption receipt, if your company made or if you made profits this year, you can use this as all the tax benefits. You're only going to be able to do that if you do that through the traditional giving method, through credit card, PayPal, Venmo, through the website that we've talked about here. If you do it through crypto, you're not going to get a receipt. It's not that you won't. There's a chance you won't. You will not get a tax receipt. If you want to do the 501c3 tax exemption, you can do that because they are an American 501c3. Life for the Innocent is, and you can make it happen. But you have to do it through. That traditional non-crypto. You can use Venmo, credit card, PayPal, whatever it's going to be. So, Tim, make sure you do mention that throughout the rest of the week. If you want the 501c3 tax exemption receipt, you got to do it through the website.
Boom, 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 boom. Well, guys, that's going to wrap up our show for today. On your way out, smash the like button. Hit subscribe if you're newer to the channel. For those who will not be joining us tomorrow, happy July 4th. For those of you who will be back, I'll see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love you guys. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.